I don't know what was going wrong with it because after I listened to it, I got back on the computer on the editing tool and I was going to try and re-upload it. But whenever I did, it sounded just like any other episode. So I don't know if it was something with the compression or the conversion to our media outlet, but
it's possible. It's one.
It was just one out
that
of.
Sounds like that. Yeah.
It's possible.
I can't hear me though.
60. I can hear you.
Is it your headphones?
You need to turn your headphones up.
I can hear both of you. Turn me
you
up.
Turn your microphone. Well, I couldn't hear you. I couldn't.
Yeah.
Check.
I don't know if you're 4 or 3.
I don't know.
And Lee, for whatever reason, sometimes.
Try it.
Yeah. I can. Yeah,
okay.
That's good.
Sometimes when we're recording, it'll sound like you're talking like this.
Yep.
And then it'll immediately sound like you're talking like this.
Yep.
And I'm like, what?
What?
Huh?
Yeah, I have to be more mindful of the microphone.
That's all right. We're
I literally just can feel it and make sure that I can feel it, like on my facial hair.
I'm just so afraid of.
Yeah, that too.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes I'll
they
get
gotcha.
the mouth breathing.
I'm having asthma issues.
You just need to get
lately.
you a trach.
Yeah. You get one of those.
I play cards with a guy that has one of those. He's awesome.
I party with a guy like that all the time.
You ever get freaky with that?
I don't think he would. No.
No. What's that Quagmire where there's the lady that's always like she's talking and she has the tracheotomy hole, and then she's like she keeps pulling the thing in and away so she could talk, and he's like, hey, ever get freaky with that?
Gross. So gross.
The stuff they get away with on that show.
Oh, I know. It used to be so funny too, but yeah, not so much anymore.
Word.
All right. Well, welcome to the Movies with Chill podcast. I'm your host, Chill. Today we'll be reviewing X from A24. X is a slasher thriller film written and directed by Ty West, inspired by classic slasher movies of years gone by. Starring Mia Goth, Kid Cudi, Matron Henderson, Owen Campbell, Stephen Ure, and Brittany Snow, Gina Ortega. In 1979, a cast and crew attempt to make an adult film in a rented cabin in rural Texas. Tonight, as always, I am joined by David and Lee. How you boys doing tonight?
What's going on?
What's up?
Oi, oi.
Oi, oi. Yeah. Have you guys watched anything new this week?
I've watched since the last filming 4 new movies.
Okay.
Wow.
I watched Iron Claw. That was good.
It was really good.
It was really
It's
good.
on Max right
I
now.
haven't watched it. It's good.
You were into wrestling.
Wow.
You should watch it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fun
It's a true story. Super sad. Great acting.
Mm-hmm.
Zac Efron brings
Oh,
it.
I know what you're talking about now.
I mean, he brings it.
Von Erichs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really good. My
might
only
actually
drawback
have to
from
do
that
that.
movie is the guy they had to play Ric Flair was awful.
Yeah.
He couldn't even hit the strut. It was
Yeah.
it was terrible. If you can't hit the strut, you have no business
Playing Ric
impersonating
Flair.
Ric Flair. That's just it. If you can't style and profile, what the hell are you doing up there? Yeah.
Yeah, I also watched Iron Claw, and then I showed it to my sister-in-law, who's kind of looking for a recommendation, so we watched it twice.
Yep. It was
And
pretty
it was,
good.
really solid. I think Zac Efron should get a lot more.
Holt McCallany, the guy that played the dad, Fritz.
Oh,
he's
he's
one of my
incredible.
favorite actors.
Oh, yeah.
Just nails his part.
Yeah.
Nails it.
He's from Mindhunter.
Yeah.
He's the
Oh, yeah.
other detective.
Yeah.
The older guy.
Yeah.
Just killed it.
It's awesome.
Loved it.
So, what about you, David?
I watched, I'm late on it, but season 2 of Loki.
Nice.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it was really good.
It's really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They tied it all together perfectly.
Oh, yeah. I was worried how they were going to do it with season 1 being so good. And I think that season 2 was a lot slower of a season. But I'm
Slower
kind of
burn, but a better payoff.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
And I think kind of watching it the way that you did, where you kind of just binged it, I'm assuming you just kind of binged it all, that it probably flowed a lot more than just getting chunked up into the
Yeah, I
6
hate that.
episodes. So.
I like when they just give it all to me at one time,
All at
baby.
once.
Glutton.
Well, we are reviewing X because...
What did you see?
Oh, I watched Iron Claw as well.
Oh, well, I saw Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, Dune 2, and Mission Impossible 6.
God dang.
What'd you think of Dune 2?
Amazing.
I loved
is
it.
It was
amazing.
so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm ready for the third
Like,
part.
it was...
Messiah?
The visuals of that movie was just
It's better than the
insane.
first. It's lighter than the
Oh, yeah.
first.
Yeah.
Spend a lot more time outdoors.
That first one, man, I'm
Yeah.
telling you, it was so
Oh,
dark.
dark.
It was so hard to
But-
watch it.
Timothy Chalamet did a great job. His
Zendaya, she killed
his
it too.
speech when he was calling people out, that
Yeah.
was like, it's like, dude's bringing it.
Rebecca Ferguson is awesome in it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I love Rebecca
her.
Ferguson. Yeah.
Rose the Hat.
Oh yeah.
It's the best. She's so
And
hot.
then that scene with the sandworms riding into the Imperial Army
Oh,
is
that was
just
awesome.
epic, dude. I was like, that is the best thing ever. And then my only gripe was Dave Bautista's character was literally the biggest wuss on the screen. Like, he ran away from everything.
They got to have a strong dum-dum, though. Like, that's, And what else did you say you watched?
Kingdom,
the Planet of the Apes.
Oh, yeah, I haven't watched it yet.
It was all right.
Yeah.
I watched that with my mom and my sibling.
What'd you watch it on?
I went to see it with my dad.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
On IMAX.
Yeah.
It looked great.
It
looked great, but the story was muddled and kind of vague, and I really didn't have a clue what the hell the point was of this movie. And for some reason, they made the female apes look very different from the male apes, and I don't know why.
Weird.
Yeah. It's like their brows were different, and they had like a hairstyle. It was weird. Yeah.
So mild spoilers for that. We talked about it in our review for Rise. Mm-hmm. The entire theater, whenever the female human spoke for the first time, the entire IMAX was like, and I was like,
Really?
called it.
Yeah. Like, come on. Saw that coming.
Yeah.
She say the
hard,
same thing.
It's hard to explain how they pull it off.
Yeah.
They really riff off the original one a lot.
Yeah.
Not saying it was bad. I
It's
thought
not bad.
it was fun.
There's a lot of throwbacks to the original
So
1968.
Jalissa had never seen Top Gun or
Yeah.
Maverick, but she's not. I don't think ever seen Top Gun. And I was like, you don't need to see Top Gun
No.
because Maverick is Top Gun.
Yeah.
It really is. It's almost like the piano playing scene,
Yeah, I
the
mean, yeah,
sport,
there's a
the
lot of
impossible
throwbacks.
mission. Oh,
There's
I
a
think
lot of
the
throwbacks.
whole script pretty much is.
Again, I didn't want to see the film.
I loved it though. I mean, it's
I
great.
watched it and I was like, okay, it was entertaining.
It's
but
so
I still didn't
realistic,
need it.
like-
I still didn't need it.
Nah, I wasn't mad at it, and she liked it too.
I went into it being like, oh man, another Top Gun movie. It's been forever. I mean, not that they've had a lot of sequels, but like the first one was so hyped up, and then whenever they were like, I was like, oh yeah, we're kind of going through like the 80s cash grab remakes. And then I took my nephew to see it after people were like, oh yeah, check it out. Sure enough, it was awesome. We loved it.
Yeah,
so,
I think it's great too.
And I saw Mission Impossible 6,
Which one's that? Fallout?
the new one, Dead Reckoning.
Dead Reckoning?
I haven't seen that one yet either.
I thought it was
Great.
good. Yeah.
All the Mission Impossible.
You know,
the first one's the worst one.
Yeah, they just get
I
progressively
would say
better.
the second
and I
one.
love,
and you
I
can't
love
say
the
that,
first
though.
one. I love
Me
the
too.
first one.
Yeah.
That scene, that whole scene where he's getting into that room.
Oh,
with
yeah.
the whole wire.
But the
Incredible.
vibe of that movie is like blockbuster,
Yeah.
and the rest of them are so gritty and like almost real, and
Yeah.
I love them, man. They're
Yeah.
so good.
this
so
new
good.
one, it never lets up. It is
Also,
100 miles.
How
an
that
hour.
man still
I don't
does
know.
it.
Because I watched the scene that he did with that motorcycle,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, you have got to have the biggest set of
Yeah.
brass balls.
Well, I was telling
on the
Jalissa,
planet.
I said when he's in Maverick, like he's really like not flying, but he's in the
Oh, yeah.
in the airplane, the
Yeah.
jet, doing that.
For sure.
And she's like, "Really?" And I'm like, "Look at his face. You can't do that with makeup. Like
Right?
the G's are hitting that guy."
It was great.
Yet another Rebecca Ferguson movie. So, gotta love her.
God bless her.
Yeah. All right. So, was this the first time you guys watched X?
Oh,
Or
yeah.
Yep.
Have you ever heard of it?
Yes.
I've
prior.
I've heard of them both.
Yeah. Okay. So, our icebreaker today is: are you a fan of slasher films?
Sure,
Sure.
Yeah, I mean,
they
have their
cheap
place.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really, I mean,
We binge them in Halloween a lot.
yeah. I mean, it's not something. So I'm not like the horror guy, you know. Like I have friends that's all they watch. They love horror movies,
movies.
and I'll watch it when it's on. I have to be in the mood for it.
Yeah,
I hear you.
And he loves horror movies. You can
So
watch
I'd
them
much
any
rather
day of the
watch a
week.
slasher movie than like a scary
movie. Yeah. I'm kind
What's
of
a
the same way.
scary movie to you, David? What gets David scared?
I don't know. I've talked about it before. One of the scariest movies ever is Communion. I think it's terrifying. Anything that's kind of based on real life, or
Yeah.
I mean, back in the day, I thought Insidious was scary too. Like
Yeah,
It Part 1
Yeah.
got me.
yeah.
Part 2, I pretty much knew what was going on, but
Right.
It Part 1,
Dude,
like
the-
I can't bring
the very
myself.
beginning of it when it takes the kid's arm.
Dude.
I was like, oh, so this is
the
how
mini
it's going to
series.
be.
I don't think is scary.
No,
but
it's
It
not.
Part 1 to the point where I haven't watched It Part 2 all the way through because I get uninterested because I'm like, man, I don't want to feel that way anymore. I don't like it. I don't like how Pennywise makes me.
The second one's really formulaic because it's like the first one was like genuinely scary because they had all the stuff, but the second one is more so, okay, we're going to have the adult scene and they're going to get scared by Pennywise. And then we have the younger kid scene and they're going to get scared, and every single character gets scared in their own little
Fire in the
scene.
Sky. I think that movie's scary.
Fire in the Sky.
You know,
the abduction movie?
Yeah, based on the true story. All the guys took polygraphs and passed, and they've yet to prove otherwise. I just think that...
Jacob's Ladder.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. In the Mouth of Madness. Psychological stuff.
Yeah.
That messes with me. Yeah.
Mine would be like Hereditary.
That
movie just creeps me the hell out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh.
But
just
Jason, Freddy,
yeah.
Child's Play.
I watch those all day long.
Yeah,
and
they don't.
mostly.
Yeah, they don't mess with me at all.
No.
Yeah.
And maybe Halloween. That's a pretty scary movie. But I'm never like uncomfortable.
No.
I'm just like, you guys are idiots. Yeah.
Right.
You know.
I remember watching Blair Witch Project.
The first time it got me.
The first time I watched it in a theater
Me
in
too.
Italy.
Oh shit!
And I was alone. Like I went to the movie by myself, and the theater was packed. Like there was a ton of people there, but I went home to an empty apartment at night.
It made you feel
turned on
away.
all the lights.
It made you feel away, and I
Yeah.
can't ever describe how no movie has ever made me feel the way that movie. It made me feel icky afterwards.
Like I needed to, absolve.
The very
something.
first time I saw Paranormal Activity as well.
Oh yeah.
See either the
theaters.
second or the third one, whichever one it shows them when they were little kids.
Yeah.
That one scared the bejesus out of me.
Really?
Man, but that first one, I'm like, why aren't you leaving the house? Dude, I would have packed up and been gone. You know what I mean?
And it would have followed you wherever you went.
I would have went to the airport, and good luck getting me there. I'll go live. I'm going to turn into Tom Hanks.
Right?
Yep.
Do it.
Okay.
What are we talking about again?
X.
Slasher movies. Yeah, I'm a slasher fan. Those were the only acceptable movies scary movies that I could watch, and the only way that I was able to watch it
doesn't though.
is
you know what the rules to surviving a slasher movie are though.
That's true.
Well,
It's very wholesome.
the reason that I was able to start watching them was the rule was if I read a book, then I could watch the movie. So in our middle school library, I got I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Nice.
And then I was like, hey, I read the book. I got to see the movie. All right? That's how it works. So that became acceptable. And then I was able to, AMC was my best friend. I was able to watch
you missed the boat by not checking out the Kama Sutra.
Listen. It was in the school library. But yeah,
they don't got to know where you got the book.
That's
right.
true.
Mom, I read it. That's it.
Slashers are my jam. I absolutely love them. So let's talk a little bit about X before we get into some spoilers.
Sweet.
It has a runtime of 106 minutes. It premiered at South by Southwest March 13th, 2022. It has a U.S. release of March 18th, 2022. Had a budget of $1 million, and it grossed $15.1 million. Top boxes for that month: The Batman, Uncharted, The Lost City, Jujutsu Kaisen 0, Dog, Spider-Man No Way Home, Death on the Nile, RRR. We might review that later. Sing 2.
I don't know. What is RRRR?
Dude,
and
it's some
for
Bollywood action movie.
Damn it, Calvin.
Yeah.
You're about to get banned from picking movies.
And I don't know how this happened, but what's the number 10 spot?
X.
That's weird.
X is number 10. So, a couple facts about the movie.
Meant to be.
Yeah, it was. The title of the film refers to the X rating used by the MPAA from 1968 to 1990, which indicated that a film was only suitable for an audience aged 16 or older.
Tired.
I
Shit.
know. Unlike the other certificates, X would not be trademarked and would allow filmmakers to release their films in theaters without needing to submit it to the MPAA for an age rating certification. Notable films that were originally released with an X rating include A Clockwork Orange, Fritz the Cat, Last Tango in Paris, Midnight Cowboy, and Sweetback's Bad Ass Song from 1971. And
I feel like you just had a stroke. I have no idea.
that's what it
Sweetback's
says.
badass song.
Yeah.
Sweetback's badass
Badass
song.
song.
Badass's song.
Badasses, yeah, because there's like a lot of S's in there. So I tried to, not a stroke that time. In the 1970s, the porn industry would end up exploiting the X rating's lack of a trademark by releasing pornos in theaters with the same rating. Eventually, X became more associated with porn, and more theaters started refusing to show films with an X rating, forcing non-pornographic films to be considered for an R rating. In 1990, the MPAA discontinued the X rating and replaced it with NC-17. Unlike X, NC-17 was trademarked and could not be self-applied, but it still meant that most theaters would not show films with the rating, resulting in censorship once again. And then there is actually an adult film called The Farmer's Daughter from 1976, which is infamous because it starred feature acclaimed mainstream writer and actor Spalding Gray.
Sure.
Yeah.
Spalding.
I mean, I figured with it being an A24 film that there was all these little... There's so many artsy things in this movie and reflections and... You know what I mean?
Right.
Wide angle shots.
I think that you could watch this multiple times and catch all the artsy, like...
Right.
This is what that meant, and this is... And I think that that's how this movie is made.
For sure.
I'm just not smart enough to
Pick
that apart.
How's this? I don't care enough.
Right?
That was my problem.
Okay.
Is
I
I didn't dislike the movie at all.
I didn't like any of the characters.
Really? I don't think you're supposed to.
Like them? None of them were good people.
Yeah.
Now I know. Yeah, you're right.
I'm just like, nah. I hope you all die. I'm just like, who's going to be the last man standing?
But
I'm assuming it's going to be her, since they made a sequel.
Right.
Yeah. I think that's the point of slasher movies though, because you don't want.
Well, but I think that Gina Ortega had the original role in the movie as that's who you're gonna like
For sure.
And then she went
character.
and made the mortal sin.
Right.
Made
And
the
after
wrong
that,
move.
I knew what was gonna happen.
But that's for the spoilers.
Yeah.
Right.
So do you guys have anything else of note? I like the way that was shot. I like the cinematography. I like
Agreed.
the way.
It felt very gritty.
Yeah.
The
70s
music's
slasher
great.
and everything.
Soundtrack is awesome.
Soundtrack's
Yeah.
good.
I like the way they shot.
I
it, 'cause
do like
again-
the wide angle shots.
Yeah.
Especially the one in the water.
Oh yeah, with the
Like,
alligator.
I
Cool.
love all that stuff.
Yeah.
Again, the problem is it was too easy of a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's very
I've
cut
seen
and dry what you
this
think it
movie.
is.
I've seen this movie
For sure.
100 times.
Right.
They
Right.
didn't bring anything new. Again, I'm going to say
That's why I think
it's Texas Chainsaw
the sequel
Max
is
or
better.
meets,
Prequel
Yeah.
is better.
Yeah.
Zach and Miri make a porno.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, before we get into spoilers, would you guys recommend people watch this?
Sure.
I mean, if you're a horror fan into the genre, if you like A24 films, they're all pretty decent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't hate the movie.
No.
I just didn't
No.
care for it that much.
Okay.
I'd watch it again.
Yeah, I would too. I think
don't know that
this
I'd
movie
want-
does.
I would. I'd watch it again. I don't have any issues in that regard. I just again, Lee I think you nailed it. I didn't care for any of the characters.
Right.
No.
I agree
Maybe
with that.
Pearl, honestly. I mean, I was interested in what the hell was going on.
I think that
I didn't care about anyone else. Like, I didn't really, I'm like, eh.
I think that after watching Pearl, it makes me want to rewatch X because it kind of makes the story a little bit more interesting.
But I do think that people need to watch X first and then
Pearl. Yeah,
think
I would
it
agree.
I think it would
And
have
that's-
made it better watching Pearl first.
I don't
so.
think so. Yeah, because
you don't know
what's going
on for the first
hour.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. I would also recommend, and I would say, man, starting off at 16-year-old, 17. Yeah.
I mean, really, it should. I mean, I know it's
soft
R,
core.
but it's soft core. Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't hold anything back.
No.
So
It was very hard to watch it last night. I had to pause it so many times.
I texted you guys and I was like, hey, make sure you keep the remote close.
I
when you
and I
watch it.
did.
I don't have to worry about that.
I know,
Right.
man.
So
I watched it with Annie, and she was laying on the beanbag next to me, and she fell asleep. She'd already seen
Pearl
it.
was easier to watch.
for sure.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I watched it today.
nice. All right. Well, let's get into some spoilers. On your count, Lee.
And we're good.
Okay. Let's get into some trivia. What was the name of the film they were making?
Farmer's Daughters.
That's correct. What day did Wayne talk to Howard on the phone about the boarding house?
Tuesday.
That's correct. What song is played when RJ takes the van for a drive at night?
Don't fear the Reaper.
Don't fear the Reaper. I knew that
Blue
one.
Oyster Cult. Yep, that's correct. Where does Howard say another flashlight is?
In the basement, on the workbench.
In the cellar. Yep. What kind of gun does Maxine have?
38 special.
Yep, white snub nose with pearl handle. Mm-hmm. Call back.
Call back to some other movie we watched.
Yep.
It's going to cause nothing but problems.
Yeah.
Watch out, Oleg.
For sure. Bonus question. What was Bobby Lynn's American dream?
Bobby Lynn.
The blonde.
The blonde.
To be an actress, to be famous.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
That's good.
It's a paid-for house with a big old pool where she can float around with her knees in the breeze and tan these cheeties. So.
Oh, Brittany.
Yep.
Get after it.
All right. Well, let's get into our not necessarily long-form discussion.
The movie takes place in 1979.
Yeah.
You get that from the very beginning.
Yeah.
I mean, even
Outside of Houston.
it starts kind of in a burlesque / strip club.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, burlesque in quotes is what I'm doing.
Right.
Where we meet
Maxine.
Wayne, her
Boyfriend
/ manager /
Right.
movie
Producer.
producer tells her that he wants to make her a star, and there ain't no one like her.
Yeah.
Dime a dozen. Very beginning of the movie is the cops rolling up onto
I forget the scene.
the farm.
The
24
farm.
hours
So
after everything happened.
That's right. You start off with
Everybody's
the bang.
dead.
There's blood everywhere. Everybody's
parts.
covered.
Yes. No
you don't
survivors.
see anyone.
Right.
No survivors. Everyone's covered up, and it says 24 hours later, and it's Maxine sitting in the strip club.
Yeah.
So you know that this is gonna happen really quick.
Badly.
Yeah.
We get the introduction to all the characters, and I don't have that pulled up. I don't have the notes.
Oh, no, you're good.
There's Bobby Lynn, played by Brittany Snow, right?
So, yep.
There is the veteran Marine Jackson, played by
Kid Cudi.
Kid Cudi.
Yep.
The director RJ, who is an unknown, I think, right?
Yeah.
I think he's really the only.
The cinematographer.
RJ's quiet girlfriend, the church mouse, Lorraine, played by Gina Ortega. And then we said Wayne. Who's Wayne? He's an
Wayne
unknown.
is the manager.
What's
The actor.
The actor's name.
Oh, okay. It is. Is it Morton Henderson? Matron Henderson?
I would guess so.
Probably Major.
Yeah.
Maybe. We meet this very motley crew of 6 people who are road tripping it
From Houston. To some other town.
a small town.
Yeah.
They had found a place to rent, a boarding house to rent, to make a porn.
Yeah.
And they're going to make cinematic.
Yeah.
It's going to have art
high
direction.
class.
It's going to have a story.
Yep.
It's going to
make a good
break.
dirty movie.
They even say if it makes even 10% of what Debbie does Dallas, then they're all sitting pretty.
For
right?
sure.
Right.
So RJ and Lorraine, Gina Ortega, they're the director and sound person. She's the sound
She's
person.
the boom mic.
Right.
Yeah.
So they go and they rent this house from an old man named Howard.
Yeah.
And I mean, the only thing
Quite
I can
the
really
looker.
say is this scene very much gives Texas Chainsaw Massacre
For
vibes.
sure. Yeah.
And I think that there's a lot of scenes in it.
That are inspired.
They're very inspired by
Well,
horror movies.
They drive by like a cow that was mutilated.
Yeah.
Oh,
on
man.
the way
Hit by
by.
a truck.
So
Yeah.
I think it kind of gives you the sense early on that there is going to be unnecessary gore.
100%.
Because the tire going through it and tracking it, that cow was not that far over into it. Like, it was very purposeful to make you say, ugh. Yeah, he totally swerved into that cow.
Yeah.
Let me get a little on my tire over here. There we go.
So they show up to the house.
Yeah. We see an older lady figure that's kind of in the top.
Up in the window.
in
Well,
the
I
window,
mean,
and
so
she's
when Wayne walks up
down.
to the door, though, Howard has the gun.
Yes.
And he pulls it on
Pulls
him.
it
And he's
out.
like,
You from the county?
you from the county? Yeah. And you get instantly... This is where I was like, yeah, he looks like an old guy, but he looks like one of those silicone masks
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
you can buy off the internet to look like an old guy.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, even with the contacts,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not very convincing that he's an old
I want to know
man.
how they got the one tooth right in the middle.
Right.
Oh, for sure.
Right in the middle.
He's nasty.
He's gross.
And you get a sense that the house is nasty.
Everything.
And
I like the shot that like It's the hallway shot that's kind of peering down, and it's in a dark house, and you
looking
don't
out
see
the front
anything
door.
looking out the front
Like
door.
they repeat that shot several
Multiple
times in
times.
this movie, several
Yeah.
times in
and
Pearl.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, I see what you're doing here.
Yeah.
And you're playing with it, so
Yeah.
yeah.
He finally says, "Hey, I'm the one that called about the boarding house." And he
house.
says, "Oh, yeah." He's like, "The gun's not even loaded. It's just for show." He's like, "Usually you pull it out and you scare people." And Wayne says, "I have a gun in the car just for that purpose."
For
you know,
sure.
Right?
So Howard walks him down. The old man walks him down, which is quite a bit away.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
a big farm.
It's a
big farm.
it's a good 300-400 yards.
But that's when Maxine looks up and sees
Pearl.
We don't know her name's Pearl
No.
yet. An old lady. I didn't even know if it was an old lady. I
Right.
didn't know if it was like his messed up son, but someone staring
Twin brother
down.
or something.
You're right. So they go to the house, and of course RJ was like, "It's perfect.
It's amazing.
Oh, look at this place.
Oh, you
beautiful.
couldn't build this on a set. It's
No way.
perfect."
For sure.
Howard says, I don't think I remember, you all saying
That was going to be quite
there's
a
going
few
to
of
be
you.
this many people, and he's
Well, here's an extra 10 just for
right. Yeah.
shits and grins.
So he
Old timer.
Howard walks back up, and
Jenny Ortega's like, you didn't tell him what we were. I don't know if somebody was like, oh, you didn't
He
tell him
doesn't
what
know
we're
what
doing,
we're doing
right?
here. No, I did not.
Nope.
no, I did not.
And I do not intend to.
And
Yeah.
but they sure in the hell didn't hide it very
No,
well.
they did not.
No.
Like anybody with a pair of ears knew what was going on.
Or look in a window. None of the
Yeah.
shades were shut,
No.
Bobby Lynn and Jackson get at it, and she's like, "Thank God." She's been
Woo.
bitching that she's
Ready.
She's
to go.
horny. That's what she said.
Ready
I'm
to
horny,
go.
ready to go. And so as they're shooting their shot, Lorraine, Gina Ortega is kind of watching like,
Whoa.
holy crap, and RJ's with his camera. Well, Maxine walks outside and she's in her overalls, and that's about it. And
Yeah.
she's kind of exploring and finds the little pond with the swim dock or
Yeah.
dock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Goes
Hey,
out
Doc.
to take a
Not
dive
sure
in
you
the
should
pool.
be swimming
Yeah,
out there.
I'm sorry. I'm not. That's the non-country in me. I'm not
Yeah.
getting in a pond. I'm sorry.
Not in a pond, I don't know.
It
Yeah.
ain't. Well, I mean, my family owns land and there's a pond, and I swam in it one time, and of course, I got bit in the back by a turtle.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, "Yep, I'm done.
I'm
I'm
never
again."
never doing it again."
Never again.
Well, we get one of the best shots in the entire movie, which is
I agree.
she jumps in the water and she's just kind of swimming, and they kind of hint that there's a alligator.
No, they straight up show it on the other
Yeah,
side.
On the other side, and it's just kind of peering over at.
And you're what?
Mia
About
Goth
100 feet above her?
above her.
That's like
yeah.
a drone shot.
It's a drone shot.
and it's
And it's
great.
high above her, and she's just
She's
floating
just
in the
swimming out
middle.
there, and you see this giant freaking
Crocodile
alligator
on the edge of the screen, working its way over, and it's not making any noise.
Of course not.
And she turns around, she starts swimming back towards the dock,
And it's getting-
that-
I mean, it's inching closer
You
and
knew it wasn't
closer.
going to get her.
No.
Like, you knew it wasn't.
Yeah.
But then she like rests on the dock for a little bit, and then she pops up, and
Pops
I'm
up.
like,
Oh man, how
Yeah.
close was that?
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
little too close. And the whole time, the old lady's watching her.
Yeah.
yeah. So she looks up and sees the old lady, and the old lady like walks up back up to the house. She shushes her. That's a theme too.
Yes.
Shushing. So Maxine walks up and sees the old lady on the porch, and she kind of beckons Maxine up.
Yeah.
So Maxine walks up there, and I'm like, "Are you out of your mind?"
Nope.
Gotta be.
I would have waved and been like, "No, thank you."
Bye.
But
Yeah.
it's 1979. They haven't seen that movie yet.
Yeah.
That's true.
Exactly.
She goes
So-
up and
Even though Texas Chainsaw Massacre came out in like 75.
yeah,
Yeah.
she had no kidding. She goes up and
Gets a little
meets
glass of
Pearl,
lemonade.
gets a
Yeah.
glass of lemonade.
She starts
She starts
Chugs
telling
it.
her, "I used to be young and pretty,
just like
just
you.
like you, and I was a dancer." And then she
It
reaches
all
over
got
and
taken
touches her
away.
skin.
Brushes her
What are you
arm.
doing?
Yeah, she's
Nothing.
And then Howard shows back up home.
No, she's sitting
like-
and
she tells him
sitting
you gotta
awkward, and
She drinks the whole lemonade.
the whole
Yeah.
lemonade. I'm gonna see you
All right, I
later.
gotta go.
Which
That's
we'll
not
tie
true
back
at
to
all.
Later. Yeah, she does.
No, she doesn't. Howard shows up, and Pearl says, "This is going to be our secret."
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she drank the
A
she
whole
drank the
lemonade.
before.
Oh.
And then as he was pulling up, she's like, "Yeah, it'll be our secret. You should go.
Yeah,
I was
It'll
like,
be our secret."
it'll be our secret.
She slips out
Okay.
the back.
Yeah.
Yeah, and kind of sneaks around, and once Howard goes in, she takes off running, and that's when Wayne finds her, and he's like, "Where you been?
Been looking all over
We
for you.
got a
Where's
scene
our
to shoot."
star?
And she
Yeah.
said, "Let's do it." She goes and gets ready, and is it Jackson and
Jackson.
Jackson.
Yeah.
And Maxine.
And I love how there's certain shots throughout the movie where Wayne is kind of like, yeah, we're just shooting this video, and the cinematographer's like, if I get this angle, then I can do this, and it'll be the most artsy. And he's like, yeah, sure, kid.
Sure, kid. Whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Whatever you're
That's
doing,
fine.
keep on doing it.
Just keep filming.
But
Keep
while
it
they're
rolling.
filming their scene, you see Pearl watching through the window.
Walking, yeah. And
She's
then
watching and imagine herself. You get that weird little cut scene.
cut where it's Pearl on top riding, and you're like,
Oh, it's rough, man, because she is gross looking.
Yes.
Yeah. So she goes
pretty
back
sight.
up to the house and tries to seduce Howard.
Howard's.
And Howard's like, my heart, I don't think I can handle it. I get it, man.
Yeah.
I couldn't handle that
Maybe
either.
just have the heart attack.
Yeah.
So after that scene, that's when
They have like a fun little sit down with Gina Ortega and all that.
and she's like, I want to be in the movie.
I want to be in it. And RJ's like,
No.
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 You can't.
No.
After they'd
Why
had,
not?
after he, well, because they're talking about like, they're like, it's just sex. Like,
Yeah.
Right?
It's not a big
it's
deal.
not a big deal, like
Not a
at
big
all.
deal when it's,
We're
you know,
professionals.
when it's not your girlfriend.
Right. Right. And he's even like, it's they're professionals, blah, blah, blah. And then she was like, I want to be in it. And then you
Like,
just
what?
see him.
No.
Like, no.
Freaking out.
No. Oh, I'm just saying, once she has Jackson, then RJ
Right?
is out.
What's
bro.
RJ doing for her after that?
Nothing. Crying in the shower. That's what he's doing.
Exactly.
And then we get my favorite scene.
Yeah.
Just a little cut scene of Gina Ortega about to have fun. And then,
Yeah.
yeah. Next thing you know, everyone's sleeping.
Yep. Except
And
RJ.
RJ
for
is
RJ.
literally crying in the shower.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, fuck this. And
I'm out.
Bullshit.
he grabs the van keys. Which
And then I knew he was going to be dead as soon as the music hit.
but also the van
Don't
name.
fear the Reaper.
We didn't talk about the name of the van. The plowing company.
service.
The plowing service, yeah, is written on the side of the van.
Yeah.
I was like, that's
So he gets
perfect.
into the van, which is still parked up at the house.
Yeah.
Turns the lights on and goes to leave, and Pearl's standing in the middle of the road.
So at this point, before this happened, did you think that it was Howard, or did you think that? I mean, obviously you're getting hints that something's going on with the
I thought
lady.
it could have been either one of
I
them.
thought it was both.
Really?
I did.
Okay.
I thought there's something. Obviously, there's something wrong with Howard.
Right.
And there's definitely something wrong with Pearl.
Yeah.
It gave me a real visit vibe.
But
Yeah.
then later
You've
on,
seen
you
that
fall
movie.
down a different hole where you don't think it's Howard.
No.
You know, like you're
When he
like,
goes
for sure.
looking for Pearl.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're like,
He's
ooh,
real
yeah,
concerned.
Where
there's
the
something.
hell is she?
Until Gina Ortega gets locked in the basement.
That's when I was like, as
Like,
soon as she went down, I said, oh no, that's
no.
not good.
That's not good.
But
That's not good.
RJ pulls up, and Pearl's just standing in the middle of the road.
And
again,
he gets
I
out
the
like
way-
it's an old lady. Like,
yeah. What are you
Are
doing?
you okay? Yeah.
And that I would say that most of the deaths occur because these
they're
poor
unsuspecting.
people are like,
Unsuspecting
oh yeah,
victims.
well let's just help them out. Like, what the
They're
hell's going
old
on
and
here?
Gross and harmless.
Yeah. Right.
So, but she tries to get on RJ as well.
Yeah.
And he says, why did you do that?
I don't
Nope.
want that.
I don't want that. And she stabs him
Right in the
right in the
jugular.
neck.
Oh
Multiple.
my god.
Well, he goes to the ground and then she gets on top of him and
she's
stabs
like,
him.
"Arr."
And it's covering the lights on the van. It has that, again, over the top slasher.
For
buckets
sure.
of blood going everywhere.
I mean, it's in the neck, man.
Oh,
that stuff's pulling
awful.
up right there. And every
For
time
sure.
she slams home, it's splattering. And then she's got cast off.
Yep.
Every time, man, it's going to be a lot. Because
At
there's
least-
a bucket of blood passing through those freaking arteries and veins in your neck, man.
At least 20 or 30 times is how many times. Like, at
Well, by the
least.
looks of him, it was.
I don't know
at
how
least-
he
Yeah.
kept his head on.
Well,
Oh, I know.
What is it? It's Maxine that sees him. They never really show him laying there until
No.
she walks up there and sees him laying in front of the van.
Yeah.
and that he looks. He
Yeah.
like he's
Gross.
almost
Done.
decapitated.
Yeah. And at this point, who is it? Is it Gina Ortega that wakes up?
She wakes up and feels that
and
he's
feels
not there,
that he's not there.
and then she
Starts
looking
working
for him.
through the surrounding area.
Well, she goes out front, and
Mm-hmm.
I think that she's looking around, and then Wayne grabs her from behind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's wearing his whatever diaper underwear he's wearing.
Tidy whities.
Dude,
Yes.
dude, they look like a diaper. You can tell
Well,
they're
it's because he's probably got multiple pairs of tidy whities on.
agreed.
Yeah.
You know how
But they're
thin
making a
they are,
they're
Yeah.
making a porn movie. You might as well
right?
not make it look like he's wearing a diaper. He
Right.
looks like he's wearing a diaper, but whatever. So they decide to look for him together, or just like split up and look.
Right.
And Gina
Split up,
Ortega
gang.
is looking, and Wayne goes to the barn.
Right.
He's like, RJ, you in here?
Oh,
because
my
that's the first
gosh.
place someone would go is the barn.
And I know
I
that
don't
they
know.
do this quite a bit throughout horror movies where it's like, hey, there's a nail right there.
It's like a giant
right
close-up of the
there.
nail as his foot's getting
And then-
closer.
I'm like, oh. Yeah.
Yeah. That
was
Those
so
always
painful.
get me. I don't
And when he
yeah.
pulled it out, it was, again, a splatter
Splatter,
of blood.
blood.
Like, and he's screaming, But he gets up, and then he sees, he's on the ground, and he sees someone looking through
Moving
the
around.
peepholes.
Mm-hmm.
The 3 perfect holes in
on
in
side
the
of
door.
board.
They
Yeah.
coincide with the pitchfork.
Right.
Yes.
Right. And he goes and looks, and you see the holes, like, the light disappear, and you get the close-up shot of the
Of his
pitchfork going
face.
through his
Right
face.
through his eyeballs.
Right in his eyeball.
Right in your eyeball.
Ooh, goodness gracious.
That felt great.
Yeah. For me, that was one of the cringiest like
I just saw it coming so far away.
I did
Yeah.
too.
And it was
Yeah.
just like, okay, how are you going to die? Let's see it. Let's see what kind of gross crap they're gonna
gonna
pull
throw at
off
you.
here.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, I think that what's her name's death is the worst. Bobby Lynn's.
Yeah. Yeah.
the gator.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty. I mean, it's pretty like damn.
Yeah.
Because I think that's the most realistic kill in the entire movie.
Except for the
sure.
gator getting that far out of the water.
No, gators can jump up pretty damn high.
I don't know, man.
I don't know
I was
that much
on
about gators, honestly. So
I went on a gator tour down in New Orleans.
you would.
Yeah, dude,
course
they're
you
would.
so
Yeah.
cool. They're so cool. And they'll take like a fishing pole and they'll put like marshmallows or just like the first one's always like a big old piece of like chicken or something.
Right.
And those gators will just pop up and like, oh crap, and man, it's clean. Oof.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So Gina Ortega makes her way up to the house, right?
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And that's when Howard is like, "You got to help me find Pearl. My wife's missing." And
missing.
she's like, "Oh
Where
crap!"
is this
So he
at?
gets a flashlight and he's like, "Will you please go get the other flashlights in the basement? I can't get down
Find
there."
'em. Yeah.
And so she runs down there, finds it.
And it's shot in a way too where it's dark and you're not really like something's down there.
But once
know?
she finds it, like the music changed perfectly
Yes.
to where you think she's safe. And runs upstairs and the door's locked.
Locked.
So she's fighting her way trying to get out. Goes downstairs, turns the light on, and that's when she sees the guy hanging on the wall.
Which we never knew who
So
he
my
was.
guess is that he was Pearl's sex slave.
So
Or a man from the county.
here's the thing. So there's a scene where Jackson goes over and like he's buck naked and he goes in the fridge and he grabs a carton of milk and then he pulls it up and he's taking a big
No,
swig.
is there a missing person?
There's a missing
thing?
persons and it's that guy and he's on the milk carton. And this is what I'm saying. This is like my 5th or 6th time watching X.
Oh,
and
that's
there's
cool.
there's so many different things. And that I think
cool.
that's why I think for me the more times
Because
I
they
watch it, the
didn't
more
put
I
it
like
so
it.
like
Obvious.
obvious.
Right.
Yeah.
So
But my guess is that is Pearl's like.
I think
slave.
it's a man from the county.
Yeah.
I mean, because you see his wiener and it looks pretty messed up.
Right.
It looks very red.
Yes.
He's been abused
Poor guy.
by Pearl, by a
That-
corpse.
Hopefully just Pearl.
Death
By
by
a corpse.
Snoo
Oh,
Snoo.
Howard, man from the county.
With that tooth.
That tooth, it's out of control.
And then, so yeah, Jackson gets up and he starts moving around because
And then he sees Howard out there,
and he's like, man,
Comes to the door.
Semper Fi, Marine to Marine.
butt naked. He comes
Yeah.
to the door.
With
Yeah,
a hammer hanging.
yeah. You don't really see it. You just
But it looks like this bottle of ice hanging from his junk.
you're just assuming, right?
Like it was a baby holding a freaking orange.
A watermelon.
So Jackson is going to help Howard, and
Yeah.
they go to the pond.
Right.
And they split up, and he's like, I'm a Marine. If she's out here, I'm going to find
find
her.
her.
I never quite understood, here's the deal, unless it just didn't work, Howard's flashlight was in the water. And I think that he was trying to get him to go in the water to get eaten,
Yeah.
but he doesn't.
Yeah.
Right.
He gets out of the water, and then Howard finds him.
Well,
and
it's because he sees that there's a vehicle in the water, so he knows that something's up. Like someone.
Well, no, I'm talking about he does see that, but he walks over and sees the flashlight and calls for Howard.
Howard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's getting in the water, but the flashlight is obviously in the water, like sitting on some
Rocks or something.
plants or something. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Right.
And so he's like, "Oh my God, the old man!" And so he's in there searching for him. And I think that Howard's thought
Trying to
was
bait.
he's going to get eaten.
Yeah.
He does not.
No.
He comes out. They start arguing about something, and Howard blasts
Bloom.
blew him away with that shotgun.
Whoosh.
Just right up.
And in the
close.
meantime, because everything's so far away and you're not going to hear a shotgun go off 100 yards from you. But
No.
whatever. Pearl has made herself into Maxine's room.
Yeah.
Right.
Wayne's out. Maxine never woke up. Pearl takes her damn clothes off.
Woo.
Covered in RJ's blood.
Yeah.
Gets in blood with her and starts caressing Maxine.
Blood. Yeah.
And Maxine, she kind of moves around like she thinks it's
She's
Wayne.
Wayne. Yeah.
She rolls over and opens her eyes. Shit.
Freaks out.
I would too, man. I would
God.
freak out.
Yeah.
The lady would have caught a beating.
Oh, yeah. She would have got punched right in her face.
Creepy. Oh my gosh. I think
Bobby Lynn
wakes
scream.
up to the scream.
Yeah.
Somehow Pearl makes her way out of the house quickly, I'm guessing. And Maxine, I know, just I don't want to think about
scuttling out naked.
Yeah. She comes out of her room and she scuffles past her. She's like,
What the?
She's like,
What's
that
going on?
old lady was in there touching me.
Yeah.
Usually got to pay extra for that.
No shit. So then we cut Lorraine, Gina Ortega's character, and she finds an axe and she's trying to bust out of the door.
Yes.
It was
And
after she found the body.
Yeah.
Yeah, she finds the body, and then
Finds
she
the
decides
axe.
to chop the door closest away from the locks. But
Right.
that's okay.
The furthest away from the
furthest
lock.
away from the lock, but she chops open the door a little bit
And it's the
reaches
same
out.
same door from The Shining.
Oh yeah,
And the exact same way of The Shining. I mean, there's so many references, like I said, to
it's a love
70s,
letter. It's a love letter to
70
horror
horrors.
movies. Yeah.
So.
So she reaches and is unlocking it, and without saying
Gets the
anything,
shotgun
Howard
butt
shows
on her
up,
fingers.
and he just starts busting her fingers. Oh man,
God.
Told you to
It's
stay down there.
mangled.
So to
Yeah.
me, that is the worst. Like I felt the every time.
God. Yeah.
Because even when she pulls them away, they're all mangled.
Yeah, the bones are popping out of the
Yeah,
skin.
I mean, they
It's-
showed the hand getting every time it pulled back, getting beat. It'd be interesting to know how. I'm sure they had a dummy hand or something.
Right.
But it'd be interesting to see how they.
So
shot
Bobby Lynn flies out of the house,
Yeah.
and she sees Pearl down by the
Dock.
The
the
dock.
dock,
that. Yeah.
and she goes down and starts talking to her, and
Pearl's like,
you're
Flaunting it
you're
in
a
my
whore.
face.
You're
Yeah,
a whore.
Whore.
I used to be beautiful like you, and you're just flaunting it, and
You don't deserve it.
and she calls her like an old bitch or something,
Yeah.
like an old ugly bitch.
and Pearl smacks the shit out of her. She's like, what
Yeah.
the hell? Like,
And she gives her the old shove right into the
Yeah.
water.
Yeah.
And Brittany gets it really quickly.
Yeah.
Old
Yes.
Bobby Lynn gets
Gets the
Eaten.
old
the alligator and the
death roll.
the death roll.
Right. We kind of missed a scene, not that it mattered too much, but you overhear Pearl and Howard talking, and he's telling her, well, I got one of them in the basement. And she's like, it's not the blonde, is it? Because I hate blondes. And,
Yeah.
And Pearl, there's that conversation that Howard knows that Pearl's infatuated with one of them. And
Right.
so I think that's why he locked Gina Ortega in the basement, thinking that,
Right.
That's who-
Dark-headed. Yeah.
yeah.
Perfect.
So,
We just have Mia Goth and Gina Ortega.
well, so
left.
this was the scene. You're right on.
Yeah.
Because Pearl and Howard go back into the guest house, and Maxine hears them coming, so she runs and
hides under the bed.
And they start talking about how she's not attractive anymore, and does she still love him? Does he still love her? And she's like, "Take me," and he's like, "I don't think my heart can handle
And
it."
I think
and
this
she
was
says,
our-
"Your heart can handle it."
Yeah.
and
You
you
got
get
this.
the awesome sex scene between the 90-year-olds,
The best.
where Maxine's underneath the bed listening
Right.
to the madness happen.
oh,
and-
Howard.
Ugh, she scurries out, and
Why
Howard's
don't you
giving it
love
his
me
best.
anymore, Howard?
He's doing a good job.
This is where she
Proud of
goes
that
to the
old
van
man.
and
He
grabs
goes to the van and gets the gun. Here's Lorraine, Gina Ortega
Yeah.
screaming, gets her out, and Gina Ortega
It's like,
is like,
you
I
bitch,
can
get the
hate
fuck outta
you.
here."
I hate you all. I'm getting the hell out of here. And she runs out the front
Dead
door
sprint.
and
Boom.
gets blasted by the shotgun. I mean, she flies.
Like
It's the best.
backward.
It's the best death in the
for
movie, I think.
sure. You hear her body just slam down on the ground, and you're like, "Oh,
Oh, and you get
shit."
the little scene later on of her kind of still like gurgling.
Yeah.
They don't know that Maxine is in the
in the house
house
still.
at all.
Yeah. she's still hiding. Howard, I think,
is pulling Gina Ortega
out
into the house.
Or out of the house.
No, into the house.
No, because
I promise. She got blown out outside the house. He said, you got to get her in the house with me. And he's pulling her in. And he has a heart attack and he collapses right there.
It scares, because Gina Ortega has like a
death
that's
when
rattle.
she gurgles. Yeah.
And then it scares the crap out of Howard and he has a heart attack and just falls down. And that's when we get our final confrontation between Pearl and Maxine. Go ahead.
Pearl tries to shoot her with the shotgun.
Yeah.
Misses and knocks herself out the front door.
Dude.
I laughed.
I
laughed so hard when she knocked her out the front door.
I think that's supposed to be funny.
Yeah.
You know?
It was great.
Like, because she flies 20 feet.
Right.
No shotgun is that powerful. But she really flies 20 feet.
Yeah.
And Maxine walks out and kind of stands over her.
Right.
And she's like, I broke my hip. You have to help me. And she's like, what?
Are you out of your mind?
And
I'll help you.
And here's the thing, too, is during their conversation, Pearl's like, I used to be pretty like you. I used to want to be a star. You're going to end up just like me. You're going to end up just like me. And Maxine's like, no, I'm a fucking star. And she gets in the vehicle and she
puts it in
reverse. Puts it in reverse. And you get the classic, like, 80s grunge. You know what I mean?
Right across the skull.
Right across, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And that's how Pearl goes down. And so Maxine drives into the sunset and
roll credits.
It gets one of my favorite lines is we go back to the police at the end of the movie, and one of the cops brings the camera out, and he's like, "What do you think's on this?" And he says, "One goddamn fucked up horror movie, horror picture show."
I love when he asked, "What do you think happened?" How the hell should I know?
At the beginning of the movie.
God, I don't know.
So overall, I think that it's a fun
I do too.
movie. It's a little slow in the beginning.
Right. But you guys missed I don't know if you caught it or not, but throughout the movie, every time that we're going into Pearl and Howard's house, there's the like evangelical preacher on the TV, and he's talking about how
his daughter fell into the bed of sin.
In the bed of sin, and then he shows a picture, and it's Maxine.
It's Maxine.
So, yeah. And so
I think that's what the third movie is going to be set up around.
Yeah. I do too.
Because she does make it big.
Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, anyway, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's perfect.
But yeah, why I suggested it. I'm excited for the third one, Maxine. I think this is just like a fun slasher horror movie. I don't think that, I don't think it's going to win Best Picture or anything like that. No. But I do think it's a fun slasher movie, and I don't think we've really had too many of those. And funny enough, with this and then the same year, we get Pearl, and then we also get Barbarian, which were all just kind of fun. Yeah. Fun.
Barbarian was crazy.
Yeah, it is. Might be for another time, too. So, but yeah.
You've seen that, Dave?
I have not.
Have you? Okay.
It's good.
I hear it's good. I just haven't watched it yet.
So,
Justin Long in it.
Yeah, I love Justin Long.
That was a spoiler going into it. Nobody knew it was Justin Long.
Really?
And, we'll talk about it later, but just brief thing is that initially on opening weekend, people didn't realize that Justin Long was going to be in the movie. It was just based around the first two people. I think one of them Skarsgård and then the main character. Mm-hmm. And then, into the movie, Justin Long just shows up out of the blue, and you're like, what the fuck? So
he's great. I love his horror movies that he's in.
Oh, you'll love him in this one.
Yeah.
He's a weasel.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a little bit. Several of the characters' deaths are foreshadowed in various ways. When Bobby Lynn exits the strip club at the beginning of the film, a large mural depicting a blonde woman with an alligator pulling off of her bikini is shown on the building.
Cool.
Foreshadowing Bobby Lynn's death by an alligator.
So much stuff in this movie like that.
Oh, I know.
I knew it watching it.
Wayne, in conversation with RJ, tells him that people's eyes are going to pop out of their skulls when they see the adult film they're about to make.
Yep.
Another point, Wayne advises RJ, never let a good woman out of your sight.
There you go.
Yep. Howard lewds track at Pearl, which allows her to start her murder spree, and while dragging Lorraine, he comments that she's heavier than she looks just before her death rattle startles him into a fatal heart attack. Jackson mentioned several times that he was threatened by farmers with guns when he was serving in Vietnam. Also killed by Howard with the gun.
Yeah.
The van runs over the entrails of a dead cow earlier on. RJ's blood is splattered over the grill because he's the one driving the vehicle. Pearl meets her end when Maxine backs her over with the back of a truck, crushing her head. In addition, when Howard and Jackson go looking for Pearl, Howard mentions that he worries that Pearl might have fallen and broken her hip.
And she does fall and break her hip.
Right. There's a lot of nods to
a
how
lot of
that
stuff
happens,
like that.
So.
I think a thoughtfully written movie.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think it's very well written.
For me, it's your typical A24 with a lot of attention to detail.
For sure.
I just didn't care about the story and the people in it.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that kind of takes a back seat, too.
I'm right there with you on you. Yeah.
So, anything to note before we give our ratings?
No, I think we've said it all.
We've
Cinematography, soundtrack, the way it was filmed.
Yeah.
It really puts you in the 70s and it does it. I always say that, like, everyone loves like 80s and 90s movies.
For sure.
I think it would be so easy to film a movie in that style.
Oh, yeah.
And it feel natural. It feels like a 70s movie.
Right.
Yeah.
You know? So I appreciate that very much about the movie.
I do too.
I will say about this, Mia Goth, she's the one that plays Maxine. Right? So in this movie, I thought she was okay.
Okay. Yeah.
But in Pearl, she does a phenomenal job.
Right.
In Pearl.
Yeah.
I agree.
So
I'll
give her that.
How did you think she was as Pearl? Because she played old
I thought
Pearl.
she played everything she did
Okay.
in the first movie about the same.
Okay. Yeah.
About 3/4 of the way believable.
Yeah.
I got you.
And then in the second movie, she stepped up her game somehow.
Do you
I
guys?
don't know. I think the overall art direction of the second movie and everything.
Oh, it's completely different.
completely different, and I like it way better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anybody want to explain our ratings?
Sure. So S tier is the top of the top. It is perfect, rewatchable. You love all the characters. It is a perfect movie.
Right.
We've only given 2 so far, and that's The Exorcist and The Way, Way Back. We only have 10 spots available, so if we do find an 11th one, we'll have to knock one down to an A++. But
Yeah.
below S, we have A movies, which are very, very good movies. There's something about them that doesn't make them that S tier movie. We have B, which are, again, good movies. Might lack something like storyline or cinematography or acting. It's lacking one of those things probably, right?
Right.
C is your average movie.
Yeah.
Probably wouldn't want to rewatch it again, but it's not terrible. It's
Right.
just, it is what
It's
it is.
average. Yeah.
D's probably a pretty bad movie.
Yeah.
There might be one good thing about it that saves it from being an F, but it's a pretty bad movie.
It's usually action.
It's usually gunfights.
Oh my gosh.
And then there's F, which is just trash.
Yeah.
Never watch it again.
Garbaggio.
Can't recommend it. There's nothing good about it. Nothing to save it.
Okay.
So that being said, I am going to give this movie a B-.
Okay.
Wow.
I think that the overall building of the movie, everything is good, but there's just no character development at all
Right.
in this movie.
Yeah.
I just don't care.
I would agree. Yeah.
There were no deaths that I was like, oh, you know what I mean? I knew they were all dying.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like I was like, whatever.
Who cares?
they
And I
let you
knew
know by the
Maxine
beginning.
wasn't.
Yeah, right? So did I.
Right.
Right. Well, I know she's in the third
But
movie.
that's
so I know
also
she
not
makes
fair
it through this
because
one.
when this came out, we wouldn't have known.
Right.
We would have guessed that it was Gina Ortega's. And I
Yeah.
bet when this movie came out, her death was the most shocking.
Yeah.
And I can agree with that because she was, up to a point, the pure one of the group.
Right, but
Yeah.
also you should probably make a movie to where that's still shocking and not 2 years later it's not shocking anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But her death is the best death.
I agree.
It's the funniest.
I think so too.
Yeah. So that's what I say, B-.
Okay.
Well, I give it a C plus.
Okay.
Because again, I didn't care about anybody in this movie at all. I didn't care. I knew they were all going to die except for one, and let's just see how this mousetrap works.
And you already said you probably wouldn't rewatch it.
No,
I'd
not really.
rewatch it, so that's why I give it a B.
If Annie wanted to watch it, I'd sit through it with her with my phone handy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I would tolerate it, but it's not great. Again, I thought the sex scenes were over the top.
I mean, Gina
Just a little too much.
Ortega's Sunday best, but
Yeah.
that's what her underwear said was Sunday.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
God bless her.
But the violence was the violence. The story was you just really didn't know Pearl's motivation really. Like why?
Not at all. I
Like,
mean,
why?
yeah.
Why are you doing any
You
of this?
kind of get she's
You're
jealous
just-
that
you're
she's just
mad.
jealous.
You're just
Yeah.
mad.
Yeah.
So cool. Whatever.
But the
So,
sequel 100% fixes that problem.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I give it a C plus. I recommend it to your horror film fans and somebody that's got an hour and 39 minutes left in
or
this.
something like yeah. It's not a very long movie, so
It's an hour and 45 minutes. Yeah.
yeah.
Colin?
So, the first time I watched this, I probably would have given it along the same lines of you, where it's like a C+. I mean, it was fun, and I think that with the more times that I've viewed it, the more appreciation that I've had for it, which is why I'm going to give it a B. You know, it's fun. I think that they kind of knew what they were doing with the movie. It was campy. They wanted to make a 70s movie horror tribute, and that's exactly what they did, and I'm cool with that. Is it going to win any awards for me for character development? No. The writing's the best, and the cinematography is the best, and the acting is fun, you know, and it's just a fun movie. So, yeah, I'm going to go with a B.
It's B minus.
B minus. Yeah.
B minus.
Yeah, I'm good with a B minus. All right. Let's get into Pearl.
Yay.
Next week.
Next week.
So we'll see you guys next week, where we'll follow up.
All right. Guys. Bye. Thank you.
Oi, oi.
Hello and welcome to the Postcast. Wanted to say thank you to all of our loyal and new listeners. Shout out to our new listeners and subscribers on YouTube. We've recently passed the 175 sub mark. Thanks for helping us and supporting us on this journey. We invite you all to check out our Facebook group or check out our Reddit sub. If you're listening on YouTube, give us a like, subscribe, and tell us what you think the movie should be rated, and follow us wherever podcasts are found. Also, if there's a movie you think we should review, please let us know on any of our social media platforms. Look for our next review Monday, June 10th, as we review the prequel to X, Pearl, an extraordinary origin story. We hope you've enjoyed our program just as much as we did recording for you. Thank you, and stay tuned for our next episode.